Good day everybody, RC Grabbag here, welcome back to the channel. Hope you enjoyed those scenes of some model rocket launching with my good friend Scott. It's another hobby I occasionally dabble in from time to time. So if you saw my last video, we started and finished a 3-car garage addition to the house. Now, one of the main reasons for having a large model train layout at home was because for several years I belonged to a local model railroad club. And they had a pretty cool space for the club layout. It was the second floor of a decommissioned passenger train station. And as a matter of fact, if you watch some of my videos from 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, they were shot on that layout. Now that layout had been in that space for approximately 30 plus years. But somewhere along the way, the township had gotten some grant money to restore that train station. But unfortunately, we were not part of those restoration plans. So we were basically kicked out, and while we scrambled to find a new space, we tried to salvage what we could from the layout, but unfortunately most of it got tossed in the trash. So fast forward a couple years, and my wife and I finally pulled the plug on the garage project, and once it was completed, I had my space for my new model railroad empire. So in this video, I'm starting to build the benchwork, and in some of the earlier scenes there, you saw some of the guys from the club helping me out. But then this whole COVID-19 thing happened, and that pretty much reduced this project from a group effort down to a solo effort. So the construction of the benchwork is fairly straightforward, fairly simple. I used all 1x4 pine throughout, and I used it to basically build a bunch of 4x8 foot sections that I would then join together to form the overall platform. Now, a couple of points on the overall design of the platform and ultimately the layout itself. The layout would be freestanding, meaning it would not be attached to any of the interior walls. And this is for a couple of reasons. First, the windows. This room has windows on 3 sides and they're pretty tall, so putting the platform up against them just wasn't going to work. And the room has windows because it's an above ground structure and it needed to blend in with the rest of the house. So naturally it was going to have windows. Aside from that, I like the natural light that they provide, and the views of the surrounding grounds isn't too bad either. Secondly, I wanted people to be able to both walk around and within the layout. I felt this would provide more viewing opportunities as well as more layout design opportunities for me. So here is another view of the platform pieces going together, and I'm basically putting them together where they're going to be once the legs are attached. So you can kind of see the aisleways forming in both the center of the layout as well as around the perimeter. Now this one particular, I guess I'll call it a peninsula on the left side of this layout, is not in the space that's large enough to accommodate 2 4x8 sections side by side. So I'm basically putting together a 2 foot wide section to attach to the 4x8 sections that are making up this one side. So I'll switch up the camera view again here, and you'll see me start working on the pieces that are going to fill in that angled area there. And the angle was placed into the structure for a couple of reasons. Number one, it just kind of gave some aesthetic value to the arrangement of the addition. So rather than just continuing the straight lines of the house, the angle just adds a little bit more interest. In terms of the layout, it provides a nice area for the stairwell. That stairwell has direct access to the outdoors, so anyone coming up to see the layout doesn't have to go through the house to get there. So here I'm cutting the various angle pieces to fit into this corner. And it wasn't too difficult, I just had to do some bevel cuts with the chop saw. And it went together pretty nicely and turned out pretty good overall. So just continuing to cut the pieces here, as well as create a section to join the 2 peninsulas together across one of the aisleways. And finally into the final corner here, just cutting a little triangular piece here along with some cross braces to finish out this corner. And next I'm going to move on to mounting the legs. So here I'm starting to raise the various platform sections up on legs. The legs themselves are also made out of 1x4 pine, again just to keep everything simple. And I'll start by raising one end of the platform, mount the legs on that edge, and then raise the other end of the platform and mount the legs on that side, and then come back to the middle and put legs there as well. So here I am cranking out some legs. Again, they're just 1x4s screwed together on the edge there, a little bit of glue to keep things tight. And off I go, and the whole process goes pretty quickly. Alright, back to raising the platforms again. Here I am at the far wall. This is opposite the entrance to the room, as well as the stairwell. And continuing on, wrapping around to the right. This is the only 6-foot wide section. I have legs that are supporting the 4x8 sections, and the additional 2-foot section there, I'll come back and add supports to that later. And finally we get to the center section. Same process as before, just raise the platforms up, attach the legs, raise the other end up, attach the legs on that side, and come back to the middle. And finally, here's the finished platform. This is a panoramic shot, so there's a little bit of distortion there, and that front piece of wood looks really curved, but it's not. But now you should be able to get some sense of the overall platform design and how you can walk around the entire perimeter as well as inside. So that is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, please comment below and be sure to smash that like button, and also be sure to subscribe to be notified for future videos. So be sure to watch out for the next video where I'll be cutting out the sub roadbed for the main lines, and we'll see the course that they'll be taking throughout the layout and across the platform. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.